this Sale of Goods Act 1930 was named as Indian Sale of Goods Act 1930. Indian Contract Act is not applicable for the state of Jammu and Kashmir. In the same way, the Sale of Goods Act is also not applicable for the state of Jammu and Kashmir. This Sale of Goods Act is not applicable for the land and building. Okay, so it can be only applicable for the movable goods. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I am Mr. Hemant Kumar from the Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Aid College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. In today's session, we are going with session 1 of Unit 2. It's about the Sale of Goods Act 1930 under the Business Regulatory Framework, right? So here, when it comes in terms of Sale of Goods Act 1930, we are going to learn the legislature which is governed by the Sale of Goods Act. Means it is a part of Indian Contract Act which is going to deal with the goods and services which is going to happen, the contract of goods and services which is going to happen in our country. So this is agenda of today's session. We are going with the concept of introduction to the Sale of Goods Act 1930, meaning and definition of the act, essential elements of a contract of sale. So there are a few essential elements that must be considered according to the Sale of Goods Act, conditions and warranties. These are the important topics that we need to cover in today's session. So Sale of Goods Act 1930. Indian Sale of Goods Act 1930 is a merchandise law. So it is a merchandise law. Earlier, this Sale of Goods Act 1930 was named as Indian Sale of Goods Act 1930. Okay, so earlier days it was Indian Sale of Goods Act 1930, and after that it had renamed as a Sale of Goods Act 1930, and it is a merchandise law. It deals with the commercial aspect, that we call it as a merchandise law. The Sale of Goods Act is kind of Indian contract. As I said, so it is a kind of Indian Contract Act, or else we can say that it is a part of Indian Contract Act which is going to deal with the sale of goods or services in our country, right? And also it came into existence on 1st July 1930. So we call it as a Sale of Goods Act 1930. It is a contract where the seller transfers or agree to transfer the title we call it as a ownership in goods to the buyer for the consideration. So here there are two things that is going to happen. Okay, so first thing is seller transfers. Okay, so he is going to transfer today, or he is going to agree to transfer the product tomorrow, that we call it as a agreement or the Sale of Goods agreement. Okay, so here the consideration is money and commodity or a goods. Each and everything is measured in monetary terms according to the Sale of Goods Act. First thing. Second thing is it is not applicable for the few properties. So I will let you know how it is. The Sale of Goods Act 1930, it is applicable all over India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So as I said, it is a part of Indian Contract Act. Indian Contract Act is not applicable for the state of Jammu and Kashmir. In the same way, the Sale of Goods Act is also not applicable for the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The goods are sold from owner to buyer for certain price at a given period of time. Very simple. Okay, so owner to the buyer means it is the media which is going to transfer the ownership from one person to the another person. Indian Contract Act, there are two parties. Okay, so Mr. A and Mr. B, one is a promiser and another one is a promisee. But here under the Sale of Goods Act, there must be two parties. One is a seller, another one is a buyer. Okay, so in a Contract Act, there was two parties. Okay, so that was a promiser and promisee. Here, seller and buyer, two parties again. So, as I said earlier, it was named as Indian Sale of Goods Act 1930. Okay, so in 1963, the term Indian had removed from the Sale of Goods Act. Okay, so after that few amendment had changed. Okay, finally it was renamed as Sale of Goods Act 1930. Meaning of Indian Sale of Goods Act 1930. The Indian Sale of Goods Act 1930 is a key legislature in India that governs the contracts related to the sale and purchase of goods and services. As I said, this law is applicable for only few products. How? Means according to the commerce and management, the goods is classified into two categories. One is tangible, intangible. Okay, so tangible goods are the merchandise goods which have a physical nature. Intangible goods are services which does not have a tangible nature or the physical nature. That is tangible and intangible according to commerce and management. Okay, so but here according to the Sale of Goods Act, the goods is classified into two categories. One is movable goods, second one is immovable goods. Movable goods are the goods which can be moved from one particular place to another place, but immovable goods are the goods which cannot be moved. The best example for movable goods is furnitures and fixtures, plant and machinery. Okay, so it may be any kind of automobiles. These are the movable goods, so which can be placed from one place to another place. Okay, so when it comes in terms of immovable goods, the best example is land and building. Okay, so real estate. These are the best example for the immovable goods. But this Sale of Goods Act is only applicable for the movable goods, not for the immovable goods. Like this Sale of Goods Act is not applicable for the land and building. Okay, so it can be only applicable for the movable goods. It provides a legal framework to regulate the transfer of ownership and obligations between buyers and sellers. Okay, so it is going to govern the transfer of ownership from the buyer. As I said, there are two parties, one is a buyer and another one is a seller. Okay, it is going to govern those all things. Sale of Goods Act transactions. Okay, so Sale of Goods Act is derived from the English means Britishers, that is Sale of Goods Act 1893. And also here there is a beautiful definition that is given by the Act, that is Sale of Goods Act 1930, according to section 4, subsection 1 of the Act. Okay, a contract of sale of goods is a contract whereby a seller transfer or agree to transfer. So as I explained, okay, so at the beginning itself, so we can transfer now itself the goods that is purchased by the buyer, or else he may agree to transfer the goods in future, the property in goods to the buyer for a price. So as I said, each and everything is measured in monetary terms. Property means it is not about real estate. Property is nothing but the goods according to the Act. As I said, this Act is not applicable for the immovable properties. It is applicable only for the movable properties. There is a beautiful definition that is given by the Sale of Goods Act. Essential elements of a contract of sale. There are few essential elements that must be present in contract of sale. Number one, so there must be presence of two parties. As I said, so there must be presence of two parties, Mr. A and Mr. B. So he is a seller and he is a buyer. Okay, so there must be presence of two parties. Okay, so one is a seller and another one is a buyer. But when it comes in terms of Indian Contract Act, I repeatedly say, okay, so one is a promisor and another one is a promisee. Goods. So there must be what? Goods. What kind of a goods? Movable goods. It is not immovable goods. Okay, so it must be a merchandise goods and movable goods that we can say. According to this Act is not applicable for the immovable goods or the immovable properties. Okay, so there must be goods according to the Sale of Goods Act. Transfer of ownership. So what happens, say for example, he is a seller who used to sell the car. Okay, so means he is going to sell the car to the Mr. B, means so he is going to transfer his ownership to Mr. B. Okay, so he is a seller selling the car to Mr. B. He is going to transfer the complete right of a particular product to Mr. B. That we call it as a transfer of ownership. Price. So as per the meaning and definition of this Sale of Goods Act, there must be something called consideration to consider a valid contract according to the Sale of Goods Act also, according to the Indian Contract Act also. The difference between the Sale of Goods Act and Indian Contract Act is, here there must be consideration only in terms of money. There must be only monetary consideration. When it comes in terms of Indian Contract Act, okay, so there must be consideration. They had never and ever specified that it must be in monetary terms. Say for example, so let me consider, okay, so this is Indian Contract Act. Okay, so Mr. A is going to give Mr. B his red color car and Mr. B is going to give Mr. A his blue color car. They are going to exchange the car mutually. Okay, so because here here his car is a consideration for Mr. B. Mr. B's car is a consideration for Mr. A, right? So here the consideration need not to be in monetary terms according to Indian Contract Act, but in terms of Sale of Goods Act, the consideration must be in monetary terms. Say for example, he is going to sell a car, he cannot give him car, but he is going to supposed to pay what? Money. Okay, so everything is measured in monetary terms. All essentials of a valid contract, all the essential elements of a valid contract that we had studied in the previous sessions, okay, that must be present according to Sale of Goods Act 1930. Includes both sale and an agreement to sell. So here this Sale of Goods Act is also going to govern the contract of sale and also agreement to sell. Means today itself they are supposed to sell the product, or else they can make an agreement to sell the product in future also. Both the things will be accepted according to the Sale of Goods Act 1930. Conditions and warranties. So here conditions is nothing but terms and conditions that is going to discussed before we enter the contract. Say for example, so what amount that I am going to pay to the seller, and what quantity and what quality of the goods that I'm going to buy from the seller. Say for example, I'm going to order, okay, so for Apple iPhone, okay, iPhone 15. So which color that I'm going to order, what is the inbuilt, which is the bionic chip that is going to include in the Apple iPhone, okay, so which day it is going to deliver to me, what amount that I'm supposed to pay to the seller. So these all things to be discussed today itself, means before entering the contract. Okay, so that we call it as a conditions. Conditions means it is a complete regarding the terms and conditions of a sale, okay, so of a product. Okay, so we are going to discuss it before we purchase the product, before we enter the contract, that we call it as a conditions. And again, warranty. So here before the sale, before entering the contract, the conditions is going to happen. When it comes in terms of warranty, after the sale, it is a kind of assurance that is given by the seller to the buyer regarding the quality of the product, regarding the durability of the product. For example, whatever the electronic gadget that we are going to purchase, whatever the durable product that you are going to purchase, they are going to give something called warranty. Okay, so of which the seller he is going to promise regarding the quality of the product, and also he is going to assure about the quality of the product, and also regarding the durability of the product. Okay, so if any manufacturing defect had happened, okay, in a product within specified period of time, it may be 1 year, 2 year or 5 years, so they are going to repair that product. Okay, so in free of cost. Okay, so again the difference between conditions and warranties, it is expected and most expected question for the final exam. Okay, so conditions, it is the stipulation where the essential to the main purpose of a contract. It is essential for the main purpose of contract. Without a discussion of terms and conditions, we cannot enter into the contract. As I gave you the example of Apple iPhone, okay, just I can say I want Apple iPhone. I am supposed to specify which version I want. Okay, so iPhone 15 I want. Okay, what is the inbuilt, what is the color of iPhone? Okay, so what is the RAM, what is the ROM? Okay, so what is the bionic chip that is included? What will be the megapixel? Okay, what is the amount that I am going to pay? Okay, when it is going to deliver, each and everything I am supposed to mention. Okay, so before entering the contract, it is essential to enter the contract. When it comes in terms of warranty, it is also stipulation which is collateral to the main purpose of a contract. This is a stipulation for the main purpose of the contract. For example, what is the main purpose of the contract? Okay, the sale of goods is the main purpose of a contract. Okay, means if he want to trust me and buy the product, okay, I am going to give him a collateral assurance regarding the quality of the product and durability of the product. If I give him the assurance of the product regarding the durability or the quality of the product, definitely he is going to purchase my product. So that is a reason all the companies, whatever the mobile company you take, whatever the washing machine, refrigerator, okay, so TV, so whatever the durable product you consider, okay, so that they are going to give the assurance regarding the quality and also the durability of a product. The next difference is conditions is essential and present for execution of goods. So why it is needed? Without execution, this terms and conditions is just a waste of time. Okay, so before executing the good, that we are supposed to do what? Discuss all the terms and conditions. It may or may not present for the execution of goods. Okay, means for example, if we purchase any of the product, there is something called warranty and guarantee. Okay, there are a number of products where they are not going to give the warranty and guarantee. Best example is a China made product. They are not giving any kind of warranty. Okay, next one, a breach of condition will be led to cancellation of contract. So what happened, there is a break of a condition. For example, so what happens, I had ordered for a white color Apple iPhone, he is going to supply the black color iPhone. Okay, so what happened, there is a break of a contract. So what I said, he had not performed. So what happened, the contract will get break. I am not supposed to pay the money to the seller. The breach warranty may or may not led for the cancellation of contract. So breach of contract means I am going to assure him regarding the quality of the product for 2 years. Okay, within 2 years, what happened, there is a manufacturing default that had happened in a product. So here it does not lead for the cancellation. So what happens, so if there is any defect or the default in the mobile, it will get repaired according to the warranty. Okay, so he cannot send back the product just for the problem in the mobile. Okay, so that mobile will be repaired. So it may not lead for the cancellation of a contract. Next one, condition formulate a very base of a contract. Condition formulate a very base of a contract. So this conditions are considered as a basement of a contract or the foundation of a contract. Okay, so based on the foundation only the building is going to stand. Okay, so how strong the foundation is about. Okay, so whatever the things that is going to happen, that must be discussed early itself. Warranty stands as a secondary importance. So if for few products that they won't give the warranty. Okay, but also there it is a secondary importance, means if there is no warranty also we are going to purchase few product. Okay, just because of it is our need. Okay, so for few product they may not give the warranty, but hence I am going to give the second preference for the warranty. Without warranty the sale get happen, but without terms and conditions the sale cannot happen. Next one, a breach of a condition may be treated as contract of repeated, means a breach of condition. Okay, so what happens once the condition had breached, the completely the warranty, so as I said, so will be broken. Okay, so when it come in terms of a breach of warranty may lead to the claim for the damages and not lead for the repudiant of a contract. So what happened here, we are going to claim for the damages. For example, if any manufacturing defect is there in a product, okay, we are going to repair it, means company is going to repair the product free of cost. But here what happens, the completely we are going to wind up the contract or close the contract. Here it does not happen. So that is the difference between the conditions and warranties. In next session we are going with transfer of ownership in goods and also sale by a non-owner and its exceptions. These are the topics that we need to cover in next session. Thank you.